Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
It's WWE night at the Prudential Center for the New Jersey Devils. And Daniel Bryan's here. What's the haps?
I'm here.
Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, nothing.
What do you got going on?
I'm wearing it.
You got the jersey.
I got the jersey. It's got my name on it.
Is that and it's actually your
My real name.
Your real first name is
My real first name is my
is on the back of the jersey.
Yeah, it's my fictional last name.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like almost like when when a 7-year-old gets a jersey and he's just known by his first name.
Yeah.
He's like, put Brian on the back
Yeah.
of it.
I wish they would have put Birdie on the back of it and she would have had her first jersey.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing that like you get cool stuff now and you're like trying to figure out how to relate it to the kid because it's like that's kind of all that matters.
Yeah. It's the only thing that, yeah. I love it though. People send us stuff to Birdie. It's addressed to Birdie.
How do they get your address?
Okay, so I don't know exactly, but it's not like our house address is our P.O. box address. But so Bree has like an agent, and then maybe they contact the agent, somebody, and says like, oh, we'd like to send them some stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And then Birdie just gets gifts.
She just gets gifts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and she doesn't even know she gets them. Like, she's more interested in the wrapping paper. That's just like...
Are you going to try to protect her from that? Because, like, you know, you both have become very, very famous. You're both wrestling stars, but also reality stars and TV stars and social media stars. Like, are you going to, once the baby gets old enough to kind of embrace that, are you going to try to pull her out of it?
So here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is what's already happened. I tried from the very beginning to protect my baby
right
from social media.
I saw on the reality show.
And my wife says the people deserve to see the bird on TV or on Instagram or whatever it is.
the people. It's not just our baby.
Yeah, it's not just our baby. They've come along with us on this journey.
Right.
They deserve to see Birdie. And I roll my eyes and I fought it for a little bit, and then I just was like, then she just posted pictures of Birdie on her Instagram anyways, and then it's just like, you know what, I can't. As a husband, like, husbands know this. You don't ever win.
No.
You don't win.
No.
Yeah.
And also the harder you fight it, the more it becomes, now it's a thing that it's not there. Right? So, like, if you're fighting getting those photos on social media and people become aware that, oh, no, Brian doesn't want the photos out there. Now everybody is clamoring, like, now we have to see them.
Okay, but they only would have known about that if we allowed that on the reality show.
Right.
But, like, before the reality show they were even filming it, Bree had already put the photo of Birdie on social media. And so it's just one of those things where I don't even think it would be an issue if we just both agreed, like, hey, no, she shouldn't be on social media. I don't want that life for her. Like,
right.
I didn't have to grow up with like, okay, Brian, you have to look cute because we're putting this out to Bree. I don't know how many millions of people follow Bree on Instagram, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot. And like, you have to look cute for the millions of people out there. Okay, but I'm a baby and like, I just am trying to figure out how to get this avocado in my mouth.
Right. I know that. Like, I didn't realize that there were millions of people judging whether or not I'm doing a good job getting this avocado in or not.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I thank God I'm not on a reality show because as I was watching you guys go through the struggle, I was thinking the same thing because I've not had to put any photos of my kid on social media whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I'm also not married to a Bella.
Yeah.
So there's not that thing.
Right, yeah, there's not that thing.
I don't have a lifestyle blog and a mommy thing.
Right,
it's just a bunch of...
Oh, it's not a blog. It's a vlog.
Vlog. I'm sorry. Vlog. That must be a pretty major culture clash for you because on one end you're like, you know, my dream is to have this minimalist house that's made of wood that I just built myself in a garden, but it's really hard to vlog from houses like
vlog
that.
From there. Yeah. So it was actually we had purchased a house up in Washington State, and that's going to be what we consider our forever home. Mm-hmm. And it's awesome on 2.5 acres, right? All that kind of stuff. Bree was very frustrated with her vlogging because the Wi-Fi connection
not good.
Yeah, not good. Yeah. So we're going to have to upgrade our Wi-Fi connection. You know,
you get gigabit Wi-Fi and it's like minimalist. Everything's minimalist except the Wi-Fi.
Right?
Connection.
Yeah.
You talked about like when you're talking about your wrestling career and whether you would wrestle again post WWE. You would always say that a lot depended on your mentality after you had a kid. Mm-hmm. And while it's only been a couple months, so I don't think that mentality is fully developed. Mentally, are you like, yeah, no, I could see myself not taking those risks anymore because of the kid, or?
So I actually have flipped that. It's a different thing now, actually, and it's weird because you see your baby and you want them to have not everything that they want, but you want them to be able to I want them to be able to pursue a dream and that sort of thing, and just this idea of like, okay, I feel like I can still wrestle, and all the tests are saying that I can still wrestle, but they're not allowing me to wrestle. So, okay, what kind of example is that setting?
Right, I see.
It's like somebody's telling you can't do something that you love, but you still love to do it.
Yeah.
And so, well, I should probably just listen to them because it's easy and I'll get a steady paycheck and, I've got a baby and all that kind of stuff,
right.
But it's kind of the opposite thing of like, hey, don't let somebody stop you if you
can pursue this dream.
If you can pursue this dream and do what you love and that sort of thing. And also, the idea now is not even to be like, so in 2013, my last full-time year in wrestling, I did 227 matches, which is probably why I needed neck surgery in 2014.
Right.
But I have no ambition ever of doing that many wrestling matches ever again in a year. And actually, I would probably be more interested in doing 50 to 100 matches a year.
I was going to say, I feel like wrestling's at this amazing place where you could do 4.
Yeah.
And, they could be very high profile, and you could make good money doing them, and they would be impactful things.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I don't know if I would be artistically satisfied with 4.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? I enjoy wrestling, and so so it would be interesting to see what would be the number that would satisfy me artistically as far as a creative outlet versus I actually don't want to spend that much time away from home. So it's a weird conundrum. That's why I think Jerry Lawler had the best career ever, right? Is because he spent all those years in Memphis, and the Memphis territory was relatively small. You know what I mean? As far as size-wise, they did an incredible number of viewers on their stuff, but But a lot of those drives were 2 hours from his house, right? So you could wrestle 150, 200 days a year and still be in your bed most nights, every night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, the greatest career ever. So it's up in Washington, there's this independent company called Defy that's actually doing really cool stuff, but they only run shows maybe once every couple months, or they might run one show a month or something. But I was like, man, if we could get that into a small territory where I could do 2 shows a month and get out there in my spandex battle jammies and do my thing.
I would love the reaction too if people are like, well, is he gonna end up popping up at a WrestleMania, or will he go to New Japan or Ring of Honor? And you're like, I'm in Defy.
Yeah.
People are like, what?
No. To be 100% honest, my first preference is to be cleared by WWE. The other stuff is if WWE doesn't clear me, and there's when I like to give things in percentages and realistic percentages. So I think that there's an 85% chance that I would wrestle again. So I think the percentage of me wrestling in WWE again is probably on the lower end of the 20%, just because there's a lot of stuff. It's just not even health stuff, but more corporate stuff that they have to be very careful because they're a $1 billion company that employ a lot of people. And if something were to happen, not to say that anything would, but if something were, it's a liability issue, right?
Let's say something catastrophic happens to you that would have happened anyway.
That would have happened regardless.
The fact that you have this history is now well, what was he even?
Yeah.
What was he doing in the ring to begin with?
Yeah, and a lot of blame gets put on these people,
right,
when it shouldn't be,
right.
That sort of thing. And so it's I would put it at a very low percentile of WWE being able to clear me to wrestle, and don't think for a second that Vince McMahon or anybody is holding me back, because I have had conversations with very high level people in WWE and they would love nothing more than for me to wrestle. Because they're good people. They just have to
And the
We'll
fact
look
is,
over all these people.
I also know for a fact that they want you on
Yeah,
TV.
yeah, they do.
Like, if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could, like, it's just logic. Like, I've been there watching you trying to squirm your way out of doing TV, and they're like, no.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
talking smack.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
You're staying and you're
Right,
doing
yeah,
it.
yeah. And
But,
so-
like, if
but-
they want you to do stuff on TV in general, of course,
Yeah.
they would want you
Yes.
to wrestle if that were a
Yeah,
possibility.
they would if that was, and that's more of an issue with their lawyers than it is with anybody else, I think. And so I would say there's about a 20% chance of me being able to come back to WWE. I would say a higher percentage, 85% chance of me wrestling somewhere else, if that's but there's also a 15% chance because I'm out there on
You've done all the math.
I'm out there on the fringes of
Right.
doing concussion testing stuff. Like I'm doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment, which is it's not like, oh, I went to this one weirdo guy and he told me to go do hyperbaric. No, it's
I was
stuff
listening to Joe Rogan's podcast.
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
no,
told me
yeah,
that,
yeah, no. It's like, so I'm working with the Joe Namath Institute in Florida. They're doing a testing with the FDA with the hyperbaric oxygen therapy. There's also a center that's doing it with recovered vets in Phoenix. There's people all over doing this government testing on the validity of the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and they're doing more and more tests because what they're finding is they're getting very, very positive results, that sort of thing. And so, but what all that means is that I am out there doing like the fringe testing that isn't necessarily FDA approved, and if there's something that shows a red flag, like my number one priority, as we talked about earlier, is my baby and my
Right.
wife and my family. And I love wrestling. I don't love it more than having a quality life until I'm 70 years old, you know? So,
Right.
So I'm also very open about like, hey, there's a chance that one of these tests, all the other tests that I've taken have literally been fantastic, like better than people with no concussion history whatsoever. So
Is it rewarding on some level because you're missing that high? But is it rewarding that you are on the cusp of this thing that is going to affect a lot of people? Because concussion stuff for all athletics, like people just don't know about it.
yeah, and so one of the things is, and then I've talked with one of the sorry, they had me do this ghost pepper chip challenge right before I came on the show.
Who did?
I was doing another interview, and they said instead of interviewing me, they're going to have me do this challenge. And and it's not that it's even spicy in my mouth anymore, but it just like something got caught in my throat that I got a spice like way down in my esophagus. I'm just like, oh, okay. But yeah, so one of the guys who works for Barrows Neurological, the doctor there, when I retired, he called me and was like, what happened? And I explained to him the situation. He goes, well, one of the things I'd be interested in is you coming and talking to kids, like at high schools and stuff like that, about concussions. Because one of the big problems with this whole thing about me getting cleared is my own fault about me not owning up, being honest about my concussions, right? That's like a huge thing. And your doctors, wherever you're at, they have to be able to trust you to be like, hey, if the WWE doctors don't trust me to say like, hey man, I'm not feeling like my head's feeling something with my history, then they shouldn't put me out there.
Right.
Because if I'm going to come back and say, no, I'm fine, and then they have to be watching out for somebody else.
Right.
Like, so that's the thing. And because it's fear based, where people in high school, like high school football, say if you're a high level high school football player who's on the cusp of potentially getting a college scholarship and you get a concussion in a game and you're like, oh no, I don't want to tell anybody because that could disqualify me from this, or maybe they won't let me do this, or maybe they won't.
So all of a sudden now you're concussion prone.
Yeah,
We don't want to.
we don't want to risk all this stuff, and then all of a sudden now your future's been thrown away, and you've been basing it so heavily on this hope that you could get free college, right?
Yeah.
So going and talking to kids, and the reality is that's not the case, right? If you go and if you say that, hey, I got a concussion, you might miss a couple practices, you might miss a game, but it will depend on the symptoms, how long the symptoms last, and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't disqualify you from anything. All you have to do is let your brain heal, and then if you let it heal fully, you'll be back ready to go.
Right.
And spreading that kind of awareness too, that like, okay, it's important that you report all of these things, because that is going to give you a better chance of returning to do what you love to do, whether it's football, whether it's hockey, whether it's wrestling, whether it's whatever. So I think there's a lot of stuff there that is like has been encouraging for me, and like, okay, I can get the message out on this stuff, or at the very least I can be a lab rat, and whatever they find with me can
help someone.
It'll help someone down the road somewhere. So.
I could talk to you all night, as I'm sure you're aware, but I got to let you go drop a puck or something. So thank you for making the time on WWE night here at the Devils game, and it's always good, man. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.